Alright, so find the probability of at most one tail appearing on 4 tosses of a coin. Let's see how we do this. Well, if you toss the coin 4 times, you can get either 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. What are we looking for? Tails? Right, we're tossing a coin how many times? 4 times. And we're looking for at most one tails occurring. At most one tails. What does it mean, at most one? Well, that means either 0 or 1. So that's what we need to figure out. The probability of getting 0 or 1 tails. So how can we get 0 tails? We can do 1/2 raised to the 4 for 0 tails. And that'll give us that probability. So it'd be 1/16. For 1 tails, we can do... that's tricky. We could do a binomial, so we can do binomial for that. We can do binom PDF. N is 4. The probability is 1/2, and we could choose 1. So getting 1 tails, it can be the first coin, the second coin, the third coin, or the fourth coin. So there's 4 ways to get that. So you can do, it's a binomial situation, so you can just plug in binom PDF, which is 4, choose 1 times 1/2 to the 1 times 1/2 to the 3. So that's another way to do it using the formula. Another way to think about it is that the first one is tails, or the second tails, or third tails, or the fourth tails, right? So for 1 tail, it's either the first, the second, the third, or the fourth. If it's the first, well, that means it's 1/2. The first is a tail, then the other ones are all heads. So that's the third. The 3 others are heads. And then plus the second of tails, it's all the same thing. So the first one is basically a head. See, man? So it's heads, tails, heads, heads. So that situation, which is going to be 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 squared, right? The third one's a tails. Okay, then it's going to be like heads, heads, tails, heads, right? So 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. They're all 1/2 times. They're all 1/2 to the fourth, actually. The last one, the fourth one's gonna be heads, 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 tails, right? It's like 1/2 cubes times 1/2. Thing is, the probability of getting heads or tails, it's both 1/2. So the answer here is gonna be 1/2 to the fourth times 4. It's another way to think about it. All 3 of these ways will give you the same answer. Let's see if that's true. So binom PDF, you go to distribution, you go to binom PDF, you put in 4, comma, 0.5, comma, 1. And then you go over here, when you get 0.25. And this one, 4 choose 1 is just 4 times 0.5 raised to the 4, 0.25. This way, same thing, right? 4 times 0.25, 4 times 0.5 raised to the 4. It's all the same answer, 0.25. So that's the answer for the 1 tails. So remember, it said find the probability of at most 1 tails. So the final answer is going to be 1/16 plus 1/4, because that's what 0.25 is. It's 1/4, right? So this equals to 3/16, right? Because this is, what is this? No, it's 5/16. My eraser. So what is it, 5/16? So that's the answer, 5/16, which is what, 0.31, which is their answer. Round your answer to 2 decimal places, so 0.31. That's the answer, 0.31. Okay? So, there you have it.